Hey y'all, it's Danielle from Black Owned Nashville and Black Business Boom, and I am here with one of our industry experts, Takisha Bromell from Girl Friday Business Solutions, and she's going to be helping us with something that a lot of us need help with, and that is how to attract and retain a good assistant. And that may be an executive assistant or a virtual assistant, but I'm telling you, if you are a business owner and you are trying to do all of these things yourself, you need to stop and you need to listen in to this session and learn how you can find some good help, because that's the only way you're going to be able to grow your business. So welcome, Takisha. How are you?
I am wonderful. This is a really good topic. And it helped me kind of affirm some things about my business and why we're here and what we're doing and everything. So can you hear me? I feel like there's a delay, but can you hear me?
I can hear you. I hope somebody
Okay.
drop in the chat and let us know if you can hear us good as well. I think we're good
Okay.
though. There may be a little delay, but that's all right. They're gonna get this
Okay.
information, even
Yes,
if
they
it's
are.
a second or two behind. So
Yes.
let's just go ahead and jump on in. Yep, they said they can hear you, so we're good to go. Again, I have had this struggle. I know my partners and lots of people who I've worked with have had the same struggle with finding a good assistant. And many times, as I told you, we just give up and we're just like, you know
Mhm.
what, I can just do it myself, because if I'm gonna be waiting on this person and they struggling, I may as well just do it myself. And so we need some tips on how do we find a good person, and then once we find them, how do we keep them? So I'm gonna turn it over to you, Takisha, and let you take
Mhm.
us away.
Well, this is really good because it is, we were just talking about this before we came on. Like, it is not easy to find someone that is um, that is the right fit for you. So, to be honest with you, I think there are a few things that you have to start with, and it really starts with you. You have to really be able to figure out who you are and what you really want, because you actually come into things kind of like naive about what you need to ask for, what you need to think about, what you need to think about in yourself, or what do you feel like you really need to kind of like survive in some ways an assistant, but then thrive with an assistant, right? So, number one is if you're looking at yourself, inherently, you need to look at what your strengths and your weaknesses are. Because at the end of the day, what you want is someone that's going to help you be in your highest revenue generating opportunities. And the way to do that is to make sure that that you understand what you really need. Like, okay,
Mhm.
so let's talk that through a little bit. Okay, so, and I'm going to use this in the framework of dating. Okay, you are dating someone or you're wanting to date someone. Before you start dating someone, if you don't know who you are and what will be a really good match for yourself, and being able to say, okay, if this type of person came along, that really is not a good fit for me. You're going to find yourself in a relationship with someone, and that's not even just dating; that's just in friendship as well. That you're going to want to what you attract what is a deficit in you sometimes, unless you are in the
Mhm.
place where you decide to be better and do better. So if you're attract what you attract out there is what you're going to get. So
Yeah.
you're going to get what you attract is what I mean. And so if you want to have, you're going to want to go into this relationship with a VA the same way that you should be looking at a potential mate or even a potential friend. Okay. The people that are in your lives and the people that are close to you, this person is going to know all of your business, all of the dirty, all of the different things that come along with you. It's just inherently what's going to happen because they actually penetrate your life, all parts of your life, not just business, but then also somehow, some way, we always get into personal things with our assistants. So understanding who you are, understanding what you need is important. Okay. So knowing your personality, understanding that the type of person you need to succeed with you is important. Okay, so if you are a go-getter and you're up at 5 o'clock in the morning and your assistant is getting up at 12 o'clock in the morning, that may not be a good fit for you. Do you understand what I'm saying? So understanding that your personality, what you need from that person, and then how you need to succeed with that person is important. That would be like number one, knowing who you are, and then also searching for someone that has not your personality, but the
Mhm.
personality that you need to succeed.
That's a good one. Because I tell you, we go out and we try to find people who are just like us.
Hmm.
And we really need someone to balance us out. We don't need someone just like us. Tell people all the time, I'm not a box checker. I'm awful at execution. I'm an idea person. I have to go out and find folks that are the box checkers to get the work done. If
It's
I
getting
went
out of
out
the
and
way.
found another visionary like me, we wouldn't succeed together. We need those people to push us and to be the balance in the relationship. So I think that's a great point. And I love that you compared this to dating because we've all dated some fools. And like so I think that makes it
Yes.
easy for us to
Mhm.
understand that. And you're right, this person, just like in a dating relationship, they get to know the ins and outs of who you are and all the goods and bads. Your VA definitely gets sick. Like my VA, probably both of them could probably tell you, like Danielle. Sometimes she responds, sometimes she don't respond. Like they know the things that they know me as a person, and so being prepared to really let someone in, I think, is really important as well, and also being willing to give the work to someone, which Takisha has beat
Yes.
me up about. Like she's like, Danielle, stop doing all the things. So we gotta be willing to accept the help as well. Great points, Takesha.
And that's good because it that is true. Like it is easier sometimes you feel like to do it yourself, especially when you have the capability to do it. So what I love about you, Danielle, is yes, you are an absolutely amazing, like you have dreams and ideas and you're a visionary, but you are equally just as good at doing the work yourself. Like, I mean, it or whatever. So it really is finding someone that can pace you and you start to trust that allows you to come in, or you allow them to come in and help you because you can really honestly do it yourself and probably take less time doing it. But anything that is going to be duplicatable is something that you have to move on from doing because it's going to happen over and over again. You just need to slow down to speed up. And I know
Mhm.
that that's hard to do that, but by doing that, you're creating yourself over and over again, and that's what you
That's
want to
so
do is be able to
important.
create yourself multiple times. Yes.
And I think I'm sure there's some folks that are tuned in that are like, I'll just do it myself. And so I'm glad we touched on some of the reasons why does not make sense. As we are trying to create scalable businesses that we are not having to work in every day, all day, that we can take off time when we need to or when we want to, it's going to be very important that you let somebody help you. So,
Mhm.
I mean, it's something that I try to drive home as much as I possibly can when talking to business
Mhm.
owners is why you need the
Mhm.
assistant. And
Yeah.
then we can get into how to find the right person. But
That's
first,
absolutely.
get into
Mhm.
the mindset of why it's important that you're even finding the help that you need. Now you can start to take some of these tips that Takesha's given us and apply them as you try to find the right person.
Yeah, and so like number one, like I said, is understanding yourself, understanding your
Mhm.
personality. If you are someone that's a little bit slower, maybe you're not the person who's like boom, 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 boom. You may need accountability. You may need someone who is boom, 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 because
Mhm.
that will give you the accountability you need to move forward. So we have some
Mhm.
clients that it takes them a little bit of time, and you're like, okay, I need someone to kind of like I have all these ideas. How do I bring it in? And then not only then bring it in, but get things accomplished. So you have to find the right person for your personality. Number two is you have to find the right skill set. So you have to be able to sit down, write down your tasks, understand what your tasks are, what you're going to be asking someone to do, And then you need to understand, we talked about this, and maybe in our one of our last things, we are talking about like you're an intern or an assistant or a partner. You need to be able to understand like each one, what they bring to the table. An intern doesn't have a true skill set per se. They're learning on the job. Okay, so that's fine to use them for some of the things that will be easy to do. But a virtual assistant is probably being able to multitask. But then you have a partner that's specific and advanced in an area, a particular area, and then they're there too. So just knowing like what tasks you're doing, also understanding that I call them micro tasks. They're tasks or smaller tasks that have to get done before they get to you. If you're
Mm.
able to sit down and understand, like, okay, I don't have to do everything to get it to me. I can give it to someone that can do all these other things, and that I can then jump in when I need to jump in. That really helps. So just understanding it's all about you, understanding the tasks, writing them down, and then understanding what level of professional do you need for all of these things.
Yep, I love it. That's Man, you gave us a lot there. And again, just sometimes we hold ourselves back by just thinking, I'll do it myself. I'm gonna give you an example because I want people to understand how real some of these concepts
Yeah.
are.
Mhm.
And so for me, for 2 years, I was like, I'm gonna do better with my newsletter. I want to get my newsletter out regularly. I need to send emails to my community every week. And I kept waiting on me to have time to do that.
Mhm.
Now I have an assistant, and if I get something via email or see a post and I'm like, we need to get an email out about that or whatever, now I just forward it to the
Mhm.
VA. She mocks up the email.
Yeah.
All I have to do is review it, make a
Yep.
couple changes if necessary, and then okay it to go out to the audience. I'm saving myself so much more time. And again, I put this off for 2 years, waiting for me to have enough time to do it because
Mhm.
I wanted it to be perfect. And now
Mhm.
nothing was getting done for 2 years versus now I'm able to easily say, oh, we need to get an email out about that, and give the other person again to those micro tasks to at least just mock up the email. Then now it
Mhm.
all just has to come to me for approval, and then it's sent. And so it takes out of my day 10 minutes, but this
Mhm.
is something that I thought that I was needing, a couple hours a week in order to do. And so
Well,
again,
just with not being organized, you probably waste 6 hours of your week in just not being organized. That's just one piece of a bigger thing, that and just not being organized. You trying to find an email, or you trying to go through 1,000 emails trying to find this one little thing that's in there when everything could be organized and put together is costing you at least 6 hours a week.
and another thing you said that I really liked was about the accountability piece
Yeah.
because, sometimes I'm working with Amy and I'm like, hey, Amy, remind me to do this on Monday, like, or follow up
Mm-hmm.
with me and make sure I did such and such, and that
Yes.
piece, it's something that I feel like I need to do myself, but
Mm-hmm.
making sure it gets done, like having
Yes.
someone there to say like, hey, where are we on this? Did you get this done? That can be extremely helpful as well. So that accountability piece is huge for people who are like me that just have a lot of things going on and can find it hard to keep up with all of them. So I think that's a great
Yeah.
point as well. Any other points you wanted to leave us with, Takisha?
Yes. You know what? The other one was having a scarcity mindset. If you go into this with a scarcity mindset, you're going to always beg off and then take the work back. You have to believe in yourself and believe that if you are focused on revenue generating opportunities out there, then you're going to get opportunities. Okay.
Mhm,
So
mhm,
if you go into it saying, I don't have, and I'm not going to have, and I'm not going to be able to afford this person, then you're not going to be able to afford this person. You are inherently making excuses for not using the person and or whatever. So I always say that even if it's down to 5 hours, and I think that's the reason why I kind of like when I started my business, I knew that I wanted to work with the small business owner. And I also and so like one of our packages is like 5 hours or 10 hours or something like that. Because we're like, okay, you may just have like 2 hours a week that you want to pass on to someone, or 3 hours a week that you want to pass on to someone. Can they be able to do that and then be able to at least affect some change in you until you're able to kind of like grow past that into 10 hours and 20 hours and or whatever. And
Mhm.
so um it is important that, yes, I think that you have to be mindful of what you spend, but I also think you need to be mindful of what you can receive if you let go. And
Mhm.
if you let go, you receive new business, because now you have not only your hands working, you also have another. You have two sets of hands working here, and so that's four hands working, and that is how you replicate your business. Is through and
Mhm.
duplicate your business is through adding on new staff and new things as you grow. So the best book that I read was right before I started my business was the E Myth. It was from the thought process of, if that at some point I needed to actually have, or that I needed to hire someone.
Mhm.
And if I just could find the courage to do that, that I would be better for it. And I honestly can say that the first person that came on was an intern. I started small. And then as I started to grow, I started to kind of like add on people. Now, I will say that when I started to add on people, I had them connected to a project so that it wasn't all on Girl Friday.
Mhm.
But then I started to grow and then realized that it had to be, if I wanted to move forward in Girl Friday and for Girl Friday to be all that it could be, that I needed to move out of the way and that
Yep.
I needed to bring on team members that could actually focus on Girl Friday stuff. So
Yep.
we have about 3 or 4 team members now that are focused primarily on Girl Friday stuff. And through that is the launch of our new website, was the launch of our marketing campaigns and things like that, and being consistent with marketing. And
Yep.
now, lead generation and all those things could not have happened if I didn't have the right assistants beside me.
Nope. And it's so important. I mean, I wish I could really get folks to really understand and how important it is to just build your capacity. Two things that were one thing I really wanted to touch on was the courage that it takes.
Hmm.
Um, and it's scary, and so I understand that it is definitely scary when it comes to like adding a person to your team, relinquishing control. Sometimes we feel like we have proprietary things that we don't want to pass on. I've had folks that are like, how am I going to expand my business as a chef when I don't trust anybody with my recipes, things like that. So there are things you can put non-competes, non-disclosure agreements, things
And
in
then
place.
go and get you, and then also you can go and get a like a trademark. You can trademark your stuff these
Mhm. Yep.
days. There
Yep.
are ways to get around
Copyright and trademark. So there are
that.
things that you can really do to protect yourself. So while we understand how that fear can definitely keep you from adding to the team, it's important that we find the courage this year to
Mhm,
do that. So I thought that was a really important point to drive home, that it is scary, and that's
mhm,
understandable. And so we have to maybe stair step our way into it. As Takisha mentioned, maybe first you have an intern, then you maybe go to a VA, then you grow to
mhm.
having an executive assistant that
That's
is
right.
really deep in your business and working with you full time. So again, as you think about, I want everyone to just start to think about, how can I add to my team? What's that first step? And really implementing some of the things Takisha has mentioned today. And then the other thing I wanted to mention is really hiring for your weaknesses. So a lot
Mhm.
of folks, we work with a lot of business owners that are 40, 50, 60 years old, even, that are now realizing they need a digital presence, right? And what
Yeah.
I don't expect is this person to now become a Canva pro and like be
Mhm.
using all the technologies, but maybe that is where there's a gap in your business, and you may need to just contract out with someone just to do graphics, or someone just to do some of the technical
Mhm.
things that you can't do for yourself. So we can't just sit back and be like, oh, I'm not good at computers, I don't know how to, work all these things. There are people who are, and those are the people who you
Mhm.
need to be looking for in your business. So again, taking that self-assessment of where
Mhm.
might you be lacking, or where might it may be beneficial for your time to not be spent. Again, it's a mindset shift. And so
Mhm.
I've been there, and I'm like, I can create this
Yes.
graphic in by myself. They got templates in Canva. I
Mhm.
can do it,
Mhm.
but I have realized the time it takes me to sit there, pick the right template, change all the
Mhm.
colors, perfect it, to now I've spent an hour, 2 hours on creating one thing, and I could have paid somebody $10 to do it. So sometimes that outsourcing and looking for someone may look like Takisha said, a couple hours a week, or on a
Mhm.
project basis. So when you have something big, a big project coming up, then you're going to outsource for that project specifically, not necessarily on an ongoing basis. So get creative and
I
how
was
you
gonna say,
grow your business.
I agree, and I was gonna say my last thing is like be cautious. Cautious is that when you pay less, you get what you pay for. And
Mhm.
so sometimes you have to be able to spend the money on the things that are important. So understanding that you're wanting an intern to do some things that an intern can't do, and then or should not do, um, is can bite you. Okay. So
Mhm.
you want to make sure that you level up in so many ways appropriately through an intern, a VA, an executive assistant, and then the partner side of things. And understanding that all of those three or four people are so inherently different. And I think that that's what frustrates a person when they say, when I hear that they say that when they're dogging their virtual assistant or their person, it's because they hired them to do something that they were not really qualified to do. Okay. And so what happens is then you get frustrated because they are not the person that you thought they were, but they were the person that you thought they were. You just wanted to spend less on them. Okay. So when you spend less, it doesn't mean that you're going to get the quality that you need. And so you need to be very careful when you do that.
Okay. All right, now we know that what you spend is what you get. So
Mhm.
be very, very careful with that as well. Great points. Well, thank you so much, Takisha.
Thank you.
Thanks to everybody for tuning in. This was a great session, as well as all of our past sessions. I'm gonna put them all together, and we're just gonna
Yes.
run it as a series because they need to catch
That'd be
all of
great.
this.
Yeah.
This was great. Thank you so much, Takisha, and
Thank you.
everyone for joining in again. Drop any questions you may have had in the caption. I'm sorry, in the comments. And next month, when Takisha and I get together, we'll make sure we capture the answers to your questions as well. Thanks,
Okay.
everyone, and have a wonderful day.